Today we have the Green Star Elite Juicer. We're going to do something very special for you. One of the questions I get so many times is, hey John, what do you do with the pulp after you're done juicing? So today we're going to juice these mostly heirloom carrots that actually I grew here in my garden. And we're going to juice these, and you know what? We're going to be left with the pulp. And normally I wouldn't really care too much about carrot pulp. One of the things I like to do with carrot pulp is actually feed it to the dogs, mix it in with their dog food. This actually extends their dog food so they get a bigger bulk of dog food, so they're full and they don't eat as much dog food, but also it's healthy for them. It's good fiber. So some other people, besides making the crackers that we're going to make pulp crackers. You could do, I also compost my pulp, give it to the worms, or do just regular composting with it. And there's so many other things you could do, like carrot cakes, and you could just dehydrate the pulp in the dehydrator, make like a salad sprinkle for on top of your salads, because basically it's just fiber. And is fiber good for us? Absolutely. And the other question is, if fiber is so good for us, why are we juicing? Well, that's because we're not really able to digest all the nutrition out of the carrots, like some other animals can, because it is really fiber. So when we separate the juice from the fiber, we're getting all the nutrition out of the carrots except for the fiber, and it makes it really easy for our body to digest and get the nutrition out of something in a liquid state, because most people don't chew their food 200 times like we're supposed to. So I just got finished juicing. I'm gonna go ahead and take this juice, and the juice is definitely the best part of the process. That's so good. Alright, so now we're gonna make the carrot pulp crackers. The main recipe is this. It's just 3 cups of carrot pulp. Now you can use other kinds of pulp as well. I like to use the carrot pulp. It kind of tastes better. And let's see. 1 cup of almonds, and these have been soaked and sprouted and then dehydrated for those that are wondering, or you can just use raw almonds or basically any other kind of raw nut. We're also going to add some freshly ground flax seeds. So this is a very important step. This is going to be about 1/4 of a cup, basically. And I just ground these flax seeds in the Vitamix blender. It's very important to only grind your flax seeds right before you're going to use them, because they do tend to oxidize once you break open the shell. And don't use the flax seeds whole, because you're not going to be able to digest them. And the other reason why we're adding this is the flax seeds has a quality where it is used as a thickener. So it'll kind of thicken up and pull together your crackers so that they're nice and stuck together well. Otherwise they'll be kind of flaky. The next thing you're going to do is basically add some herbs and spices to your preference. So the next thing you're going to do is add seasonings to your preference. So salt, pepper, herbs and spices, or whatever. So you want to do an Italian cracker, you could add some Italian seasoning and some other Italian things. What I really like to do actually is I like to use sauerkraut as my seasoning. So the sauerkraut, you could also use kimchi. Adds a really unique flavor component to the crackers. It's like a sauerkraut cracker. And in some cracker contests that I went to, usually the crackers that add the sauerkraut are the ones that are winning those awards at the cracker contests. So that's why I like to use it. It adds a nice complex flavor, makes it taste good. And also the sauerkraut does contain a little bit of a salt in there, so then I get the salty flavor without directly adding salt into my cracker. The other thing I'm going to use today is a little bit of garlic, and garlic's nice to add as well. And the final thing that I may need to use, and this depends on how the mixture comes out, I sometimes like to add some of that carrot juice that I've made back into the mixture. That'll give it a little bit more depth of flavor and a little bit more liquid to get the right consistency on the cracker, because you don't want it, you want it to be able to spread very easily on the non-stick sheet versus having it be real flaky. And if it's really flaky, then it's not going to dehydrate correctly and it's not going to work as well. So what's really important is the ordering of processing the ingredients in the food processor. So the first thing to do that you need to do first is always your almonds. So we need to basically powder up these almonds first. We're going to add this to the food processor. That's 1 cup of almonds there. And turn it on. Alright, so you're going to process the almonds into a nice consistency there where they're pretty much all chopped fairly well. Then the next thing you're going to do is I like to add the flax seeds. So I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of powdered flax, along with the garlic and the sauerkraut. The last thing that you'll add actually is the carrot pulp. The carrot pulp has already been juiced, so it's already been processed, so it doesn't need to get broken down as much as these other ingredients. Go ahead and turn that food processor on. Now we're going to add a little bit of that carrot juice there. And now when you add your carrot pulp, it's really important to only add a little bit of carrot pulp at a time. Don't add like the whole thing. You may overload your food processor. So there we've added about a cup or so. Alright, so let's go ahead and add more of that carrot pulp. It looks like it's working really well. This is a nice consistency here. It's going to be nice and spreadable. This would be kind of like a mock tuna. Actually, this is a recipe that you can make. Actually, just make this mixture, and actually you could serve this over some lettuce or over a salad. And whether you dehydrate it or not, you could definitely still eat it. So this is another way to use the pulp. Alright, so there you have it. Now we have our mixture, and it's all finished. So the next step is using the dehydrator to dehydrate the crackers. Now we're going to go ahead and take the door off the dehydrator, just kind of sits on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take out the tray. So the tray normally comes with this mesh sheet. And this mesh sheet's not going to be the best way to make our crackers. What we're going to need to do is use a non-stick sheet. So this tray here has the mesh sheet underneath, and then we have the non-stick sheet on top. We call these the PrimaFlex sheets. These are the PrimaFlex sheets that enable you to make things like crackers and dehydrate gooey things like these crackers, or like something like fruit roll-ups. You could literally just blend up some bananas and make your own bananas fruit roll-ups. And you just kind of work it out and spread it and get it nice and thin. And I kind of use my other hand to block the edge so the stuff doesn't go off the edge and make a mess everywhere. So the last step now, after I pressed it out with my hands, I'm taking the spatula just to kind of smooth everything out. And once again, you don't want this too thick. It's definitely better on the thinner side. And we'll give you basically a side shot so you can see how the thickness is on that. It's probably about less than a quarter inch thick. Alright, so here's our cracker on this full sheet. And sometimes what I like to do is I like to take a plastic knife and then I'm going to score it. So if you score it now, it's going to work a lot better to separate your crackers into pieces. So we're just going to make nice bite-sized pieces. So these crackers, once they're done, you can use them to put avocado and make little sandwiches, put tomatoes and other things on them. So basically, once you're done and you have it all ready, we're just going to simply take it and put it in the dehydrator. And put the lid on. And we're going to turn the dehydrator on. Now the question is, how long does it take to dehydrate? Well, that depends on a couple factors. It depends on your weather, your climate. If you live in a dry area, it's going to be faster. If you live in a more humid area, it's going to take longer. The time it takes also depends on the temperature that you're dehydrating at. So the hotter the temperature, the less time. The lower the temperature, the longer time. But what I really recommend to do to maximize and shorten the amount of time is to crank up your dehydrator till about, I'd say about 140 degrees. But most people are going to say, hey John, aren't enzymes deactivated at 118 degrees? Well, the answer is yes, but here's the thing. Even though we put the dehydrator at 140 degrees, it doesn't mean the food temperature is going to be 140 degrees. It means the air temperature inside there will be 140 degrees. And I only recommend you do this for about the first hour or two, because as the moisture is still evaporating off, the food temperature still will not get above 118 degrees. So after the first hour or two, then you're going to ramp down the temperature, down to maybe like 115 degrees until it's completely done. So if you do it this way, it's going to shorten your dehydration time, and usually it's going to be done overnight. I like to make these at night, and by the morning, they're pretty much ready to eat. All right, so now we're back, and let's check out our carrot pulp crackers. So we're going to go ahead and open up our dehydrator. Alright, so here's what they look like. And this was on a Teflex sheet, and about halfway through sometimes I'll flip it over. And because the Teflex will prevent the one side from drying optimally, so once it's dry enough we could flip it over onto a mesh sheet. And this is how pretty much it looks. It looks nice and pretty. This is the combination of the yellow and orange carrots that I grew in my garden. This is what it looks like. We also did add some curry, which makes a nice yellow flavor in there. So we could take off a little piece of this and man, that's so good. Spread some avocado on there, some tomatoes, and go to town, make a guacamole dip, salsa dip. I love carrot crackers. Alright, so this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Hope you've enjoyed showing you how to use your carrot pulp and to make carrot crackers. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.